Our next speaker is Reverend Paul Waldmiller. He's an ordained Christian pastor. He's also director of an international ministry, the Global Family Outreach Ministry. This helps poor children, including rescuing them from human and sex trafficking. Today, Paul's going to share with us his personal experience being victimized by a foreign immigration marriage scammer, corrupt American judges and attorneys, and corrupt law enforcement officials, including a police officer who threatened to murder him for exposing the scam and corruption. Ladies and gentlemen, Paul Waldmiller.
My name is Pastor Paul Waldmiller. I'll be speaking today regarding foreign immigration marriage scams that affects the taxpayer in the United States of America. I am myself a victim of such a scheme. Unfortunately, there are over 1 million foreign immigration marriage scammers in the United States. They are here illegally as illegal aliens. They take up billions and billions and billions of your hard-earned tax dollars each and every year by the way of getting welfare or receiving welfare, food stamps, housing, and so on and so forth. In any case, what they do is they victimize men and women of this country, United States citizens, by marrying them only to get a green card or U.S. citizenship, and of course take advantage of our hard-earned money. So, in speaking today, I will be sharing the information, and you'll definitely want to pay attention to three things while I'm speaking. One is who, in fact, is classified as a foreign immigration marriage scammer. Number two, what do the victims of foreign immigration marriage scammers suffer through? And number three, what is the government involved in actually helping and enabling those scammers to come here and take advantage of your funding? Well, good afternoon. Can everybody hear me okay? I'm going to take this microphone out. I'm used to holding microphones, and I think that'll work good for me. All right, well, good afternoon. I am very blessed to stand here before you today that I may share the information, more about the information that Chris Schalowski, our wonderful, fearless leader of the Tampa Tea Party, just shared. And I just want to take a moment to thank all of you for attending. I want to thank especially our keynote speaker, Dean Tong. And I'll tell you what, if you think I'm going to go really fast, hang on to your hats, because when he speaks, he's going to give you a lot of information, and you're going to want to definitely take a lot of notes. I'm appreciative of him, of course, for Chris, for Raquel, for Glenn, and my beautiful wife, Jorlyn, who is from the Philippines, and she is not, I repeat, not a foreign immigration marriage scammer. So when I'm speaking later, I'm not speaking about her. Thank the Lord for her. So I have some slides. Marriage fraud. What is immigration marriage fraud? Basically, in a nutshell, obtains U.S. citizenship or legal permanent resident status, divorces the U.S. spouse, and all heck breaks loose. I'm wearing my clerical collar today, so I have to be extra nice and extra good in my verbal skills, right? So here's the issue, okay? You hear every word, you've asked lots of questions of the person that you want to meet. You met them online, wherever, and you say, I really fell in love with this woman, this man online, and you go over to their country and then you meet them, and they seem wonderful. And you say, you know what, if you're a Christian or Jewish or, religious person, thank God, I met this person. They really seem to be the person that I want to marry. Everything seems to check out okay. You feel confident that this person is the person that you really want to marry. You bring her to the U.S. with a K-1 fiancé visa. And by the way, have any of you ever watched the Learning Channel program that was on last year called 90 Day Fiancé? No? None of you? Okay. Well, one person did. And if you ever watched it, a lot of relatives, when they're saying, I'm going to marry this so-and-so from such and such country, and then most of the relatives and friends say, don't do it. Don't do it. Why? Because of exactly what happened to me. If you need an object lesson on what happens as far as being a victim of foreign immigration marriage scam, I'm the guy, unfortunately. So you get married, and 2 days later, she flips, or he flips. She or he becomes angry, starts throwing things, makes false allegations of abuse to others, your friends, your family. She or he even becomes violent towards you. You try to calm her down or him down. You argue with her, and then all of a sudden, she picks up the telephone and calls 911, telling the operator that she is being physically and or emotionally being abused. You know that's not true, but the police arrive. You know that they have to investigate. They arrest you, and you go to jail. While in jail, you get served some legal documents, which includes a protection order telling you that you cannot, I repeat, you are not allowed to go home. You can ask the police to escort you to your home, where you will be given 10 minutes to gather some of your essential personal items only, like underwear, work clothes, so on and so forth. You are not allowed to remove any marital assets, and certainly not weapons. They have already been confiscated by the police while you were wrongly locked up in jail. You are also given a family court hearing where your new wife and often her husband, oftentimes taxpayer paid court appointed attorney and female domestic violence program worker, accompanies your wife into the court, who is sobbing with crocodile tears, so that the judge, who is receiving thousands of dollars in taxpayer funding to protect only women from domestic violence, is looking at your wife with great sympathy. The judge then turns and looks at you as if you are not only guilty, even though yet hearing your case, but also gives you a look as if you are a serial rapist and or a murderer. Your hearing is concluded. You cannot go home. Your wife is given everything. She files for a divorce and gets everything permanently. She gets your house, your marital and personal property, and you get to pay her alimony. In the meantime, she finds a boyfriend who's helping her to not only stay in the United States, but willingly also to pay her fees to help get her United States citizenship. You complain to the United States CIS or ICE, FBI, your congressman, every imaginable federal and state agency. And you believe that will help you. None will. You contact lawyers. They only want money. You heard Glenn earlier, right? You fight in court as a pro se litigant. Bad move. And the judges continually deny your motions. What you just heard is not an imaginary scenario. This, ladies and gentlemen, is how and what a foreign immigration marriage scammer does and is. Welcome to my world. I am a victim of a foreign immigration marriage scam. Please know, not only am I a victim of a foreign immigration marriage scam, I hold 2 college degrees, one in alcoholism and one in family counseling. Majoring in family counseling for many years past, I have been employed as both an internationally credentialed alcoholism and substance abuse counselor and as a forensic specialist working within the courts. I have counseled literally thousands of individuals as well as family members during the same period of time, and when employed as a forensic specialist, working in various courts evaluating individuals for chemical dependency issues. I helped establish DWAI courts, domestic violence courts, and so on and so forth. I trained magistrates, judges, attorneys, and law enforcement officials. This was in the past, but today, with the help of Chris Shalowski and all the Tampa Tea Party members, I stand before you as the chairman of the Tampa Tea Party Justice Team. I am as well Director of Global Family Outreach Ministry, as Chris so kindly introduced me, where I am a Bible-believing pastor. I have a church in the Philippines. We feed poor children there, and probably the most effective thing that we do in the Philippines is we rescue children there from human and sex trafficking. I can say praise the Lord for it. I can tell you this, however, as I shared previously, I stand before you as a victim of a foreign immigration marriage scam. In terms of being a victim of that crime that occurred to me, I am just one of over 1 million victims of this crime. So that means there are over 1 million foreign immigration marriage scammers in this country. And I'm going to share more about that to you as well. Indeed, foreign immigration marriage scammers know a lot about our laws and how to manipulate them. They spend much time on the computer. Go to Google, look up immigration, and there you will find the Violence Against Women Act laws. If you are not familiar with what that comment or referred to as VAWA, that law was brought forth and sponsored in 1994 as a bill by then U.S. Senator and current Vice President Joe Biden. Where's Joe? There he is. Can you guess which one is Joe? Yeah. The bill was also signed by President Clinton. Yeah, there's Bill with his girlfriend, right? Marked by women's rights activists such as feminists, communists, socialists, ACLU, and the others. VAWA promised and gives billions and billions of dollars to aid women everywhere as victims of domestic violence, even if those claims of being a victim of domestic violence is not true. VAWA also helped to reformulate state laws regarding domestic violence by making a woman's claim of being abused in court of law of something rarely questioned by judges and the courts. With VAWA, or Violence Against Women Act, there is no need for any woman to present evidence or facts that she has actually been abused. Her words suffices as the standard of guilt against her male partner, and oftentimes already corrupted family courts here in the United States, judges, attorneys, prosecutors, law enforcement agencies, DV programs were more than happy to oblige, after all. In our judicial system, cash is king. You heard Glenn speak a little bit about that before. Cash is king. Not only our constitutional rights are denied, but everything is denied. If you find yourself, especially as a man in the courts and family courts, and accused of domestic violence, you're in trouble. But I'm not going to talk too much more about that. I'm going to leave that up to our keynote speaker, Dean Tong, who is not very familiar with my personal case, but he will be speaking about VAWA a little bit more later. While it is very true that there are indeed female victims of domestic violence in the program, VAWA actually hurts women. And I cannot publicly state, whether recorded or not or in private, I cannot state what I would do to a man if I caught him abusing a woman. Use your imagination. I just have to leave it at that, okay? I believe in biblical and godly justice. In my church, in my organization, men do not hit women. Ever. Ever. Okay? I don't believe in it. But on the other hand, VAWA has caused many men to suffer needlessly and unconstitutionally. I'm against all domestic violence, whether men against women or women against men. And yes, the government statistics do show that men are nearly 50% of all domestic violent victims at the hands of women. Our courts and governments, though, rarely, if at all, acknowledge this fact, because there is no financial power or control benefits for telling this truth. And what I'm going to do is, I'm going to tell you, as I mentioned earlier, these foreign immigration marriage scammers know everything that all the information I just gave you. They're very familiar with it. They know how it works. So, all a foreign immigration marriage scammer that's ready to scam a man or a woman needs to do, usually it's a woman, and to manipulate all our often corrupted court system is simply by going to the US ICS website. Okay, there it is. That they can easily apply for an immigrant visa to the U.S. as a victim of domestic violence. In fact, that is very easy. All the women have to do is file an I-360 form and receive easy approval from the local United States Embassy. It works like this. A male U.S. citizen visits a woman in a foreign country. She falls in love and marries her, or doesn't marry her, or a man goes and he falls in love. He marries her and later decides that the woman he married is not who she said she was. That woman can simply go to her family, have them hit her, leaving a mark on her body. She then goes to her local physician and tells him that an American husband beat her. The doctor writes a letter for her. She takes a photo of the mark. She falsely made a claim that her husband beat her while he was visiting her. And then the doctor gives that letter, and she takes all the picture, the USICS I-360 form, to the local United States Embassy in her country, and voila. She gets to come to the U.S. on your dime as an immigrant, and in the meantime, the American who was falsely accused of domestic violence gets a court date in the United States and probably gets both jail and pays alimony to the foreign immigration marriage scammer. Maybe, under U.S. CIS rules, the foreign immigration marriage scammer does not have to press charges against her alleged abuser. She gets to come to the U.S. once the United States government helps her find a job here, any job. And of course, she gets food stamps, free housing, and Medicaid are all included. For me, I was a victim of a type of foreign immigration marriage scam. And that was, it's called a Filipina dump truck scam. I only have a few minutes to tell you about it, but this is what happened to me. After I found, being an ordained minister, being a born-again, Bible-believing Christian, 2 days after I was hit with this, I didn't know what to do. For years, I dragged this woman to many pastors and counselors trying to find out what was going on. It was too late. She had already started the process of the scam, which can take up to 10 to 15 years, depending. And she made many false allegations of abuse against me over the years. None were ever founded. However, when the divorce went through, they took her word over mine. She had no witnesses, no photos, no psychological doctor reports, anything. She just made the allegations, and they believed her. And here's the thing. When I actually found out what was going on, I fought it in the courts. I did like all the people that usually fight divorce in courts do. They spend thousands of dollars. They go broke. I did all that, and I represented myself. Well, guess what? The courts didn't care. And when I tried to expose the courts for taking all that VAWA money, because that's all they were really interested in, guess what? They sent a City of Batavia, New York police officer to threaten to murder me. I contacted everybody from the news, the media. I contacted congressmen, county, state legislators. I contacted everybody. Nobody cared. Nobody cared. And because of this scam, I've been unemployed since 2008. It was shortly before I went to get remarried. The divorce had already gone through, to my beautiful wife, Jorlyn. And when I went to the United States Embassy in Manila, they took my U.S. passport for owed child support, which was ordered at 120% of my pay, my unemployment check. Of course, I was living homeless. Ladies and gentlemen, over the years, I've had to dig out of other people's garbage to eat. I've had to sleep in people's basements on cold winter floors. My back is messed up. I'm in a lot of pain right now. And I'm praying to God for help. If it wasn't for my wife, her and I came to Florida, we lived out of a car. We lived out of a car. It wasn't up until a few years ago, because she was working, we were able to get an apartment. I've been unemployed since 2008. The judge told me, the last day in court in 2009, said, Reverend Waldmiller, you are not being allowed to see your children because of your biblical Christian beliefs, unquote. They will you. They are interested in the VAWA money connected with these scammers. That's why they're here. I have an appointment with Vern Buchanan, please don't laugh, on Monday with some of the other Tea Party members. They're going to be there with me, and we're hoping that he's going to be able to do something for me. I don't know. I'm just praying. That's all that I can do. I want to be used. My passport was taken. I'm kind of going back over. I think I may have missed that, but my passport was taken. I can't travel. I can't go anywhere. I can't do anything. And my license has been taken. My Social Security has already been given to the scammer. They have a court order. I can't do, if I work today, if I get a job today, I've already been told by a lawyer that I spoke to last December who practices law here in Florida as well as New York State. He said, Paul, they're not going to kill you, but don't be surprised. And he said it in front of my wife. Don't be surprised if New York State doesn't come here and send a couple people to try to grab you. Those are his words to me. My life is always in danger at all times because of this scam. They're taking everything, not only from me, but they're taking it from you as well. My house that was given to her, this scammer, she doesn't have to pay the house mortgage. You pay the house mortgage. Who do you know that has the government paying any money for their house mortgage? I don't know any. But this is the type of scam that goes on. Thank you. I get 5 minutes for questions. Any questions? Yes, ma'am.
Well, what's the reaction from politicians that you've reached out to for help? Do they blow you off? Do they offer solutions? Or do they just turn a blind eye?
I've been to Washington, D.C. 3 times in the past 3 years. 2 times specifically to speak with members of Congress. Most of them plainly won't speak to me. I only speak with their staff, the congressional or senatorial staff. They're gatekeepers. They will not help me. No one will help me. Anyone else? No? Well, I want to say thank you again to everybody for attending, and I will be available later, as will Glenn and Chris and Raquel, to answer any questions. Thank you.